Islam, Islam, Islam. Praise Allah. Honor to the Prophet and the Drew Ali. Honors to the members of the Moorish Science of America. Honors to the Harbinger for the Marcus Messiah, Garvey Bay. Honors to all the women, men, and children who are the harbingers of leaders in the Moorish Science of America. Today's show, you thought wrong. Every individual has an entitlement to their own thinking. Because just because they think of something that they're entitled to doesn't mean it's politically correct. And I've been saying about ethnicities, which doesn't mean nothing according to your true nationality. We got a group of people who are functioning in this capacity that they have a right to harm other people, and it constantly gets a slap on the wrist. But yet and still, people have no idea that all this stuff is being orchestrated. It's all being planned. The businesses that were up and running and functioning before the riots of protests across this nation are just all staged. It's all orchestrated. These people are being paid. But this is where people get lost in the sauce, is when a certain script is laid out for the politicians to follow. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between what is real and what's fake. The so-called reality we're living in right now is governed by 13 families. I keep saying it over and over again in my shows that a lot of people have no idea of what is truly going on. Whether people want to believe it or not, the politicians are just set up like pawns in a game of chess. In order for you to become a politician, you must have certain criteria. You not just can't be just elected off the streets. Some people have to be fitted for the job. Some people have to fit according to the bloodline. And I see people in the chat, so I'm gonna greet y'all in a few. People want to get mad at Clinton, Reagan, George Bush, Adams, Washington. Well, you can get mad at Washington because he's the one who started this whole thing. Washington is the one who started creating these ethnicities, but Abraham Lincoln is the one who debunked it. But there's people out there who think it's just about living and paying your taxes and you're a citizen of the U.S., this, and you're American, but you can't be part of two entities. What's the entity, you may ask? I'll repeat myself again. For the people who are just tuning in, you have to understand, if you're not part of the Republic, you're part of the democracy. Democracy represents the Roman Empire. This has nothing to do with what you think about what they're telling you. And they're lying. And all the while, it becomes an issue because a lot of people are not thinking what is going on behind closed doors of all this politics. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's the truth. They have been orchestrating this day for over 20 years now. In order for them to plan what they're going to plan to exterminate the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors, Latino, Chicano, Hispanic, Islanders, and etc. I don't see how a group of people are going to fall for the okie doke that things are what you see on TV is. Now, I'm not going to lie. They see what the elite does is they put stuff in front of you to tell you what the plan is. And whether you're going to accept it or not, they do it all the time. They've been doing it since the 50s. They want to dress Bugs Bunny up into a girl costume to seduce Elmer Fudd and playing mind tricks on him. That's the same thing that's going on right now. Transgenders are doing this. The whole LGBTQ has their place in Hollywood. That's why they got so much funding so quickly. Since 2008. Yeah. I remember that day. No on 8. Yes on 8. And saying all these subliminal messages, trying to manipulate the people how to do Proposition 8. Do you want to do same-sex marriage? No. And then they switch it up. And they lie to see the people. Well, do you think it's right for the children to choose to choose same-sex marriage or opposite-sex marriage? No, and they just be lying. So when the votes have been overturned in Barack Obama's administration, it appears to be that they're supporting it anyways because that's what they do behind closed doors. It's all the District of Columbia is a modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Whether you want to accept it or not. You got one committing orgies like they're in Hollywood. Whether people want to know it, whether people want to like it or not, whether people care, but this affects the youth. This affects the perception of what the children should be learning and what they should not be learning. If you want to tell your child that two mothers is okay So where is the father to help reproduce the baby? That's the question. Well, we got two mothers. Well, where's the father? It takes a father to reproduce and help make a baby who's a helper of giver of life. But yet and still, the helper or giver of life is the mother too. Well, that's confusing. Last I checked, I have a mother and I have a father. The same mother and father that I have is the same mother and father that begot my mother and father of the pair. Not the same. But we have to understand that you can milk a heifer, which is a woman, a lady cow, but you can't milk a bull, which is also a male cow. Right? So once you understand the confusion that's going on, now people are saying that our rights matter this and our rights matter that. Well, if you keep watching Queer Eye for the Stray Guy, you begin to understand the situation. Now, I'm not for the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party come up with so confusion. They say one thing and they do another. Self-defense is wrong if you're a second-class citizen. But let it be an LBGTQ. Oh, then it's a problem. So you mean to tell me a so-called black man or black woman or so-called black child can't defend himself amongst a person who's oppressing them, upon a person who is provoking them to fight, and they can't defend themselves, but they get locked up? But let it be one of them LBGTQ ones. It's an issue. And this is not throwing shade or dirt. This is just calling it what it is. You defend you as the so-called Negro, black, and colored, Latino, Chicano, Hispanic, defend yourself against a so-called white person. You're going to jail, yo. That is the way they set up their penal codes. But they say you have broken the law. Okay, recite the law of the Constitution I have broken in. Again, you thought wrong. They say study long, study wrong. Well, you know what I say. If you are not prepared and you haven't got your status straight, then you are just subjected as a second-class citizen slave. You're just a slave. But then again, you're saying you're an American, but you have a U.S. Constitution, or should I say a U.S. government birth certificate. So you cannot be the one to say that you are an American citizen when you're not. So I'm gonna I need y'all to DJ Cool, cut that please, my brother. I'm gonna I want y'all to all right, hold on, family. I'm gonna play something for y'all right quick. Pay attention to this.
Donations. You want me to make a donation to the Coast Guard Youth Auxiliary? Doc, I'm from the future. I came here in a time machine that you invented. Now I need your help to get back to the year 1988. It means that this damn thing doesn't work at all.
You about to get into
The
it.
only one who knows how your time machine works.
Time machine. I haven't invented any time machine.
Okay, all right, I'll prove it to you. Look at my driver's license. Expires 1987. Look at my birthday, for crying out loud. I haven't even been born yet. And look at this picture. It's my brother, my sister, and me. Look at her sweatshirt, Doc. Class of 1984.
Pretty mediocre photographic fakery. They counterfeit others' hair.
Tell me the truth, Doc. You gotta believe me.
And tell me, future boy,
Here it comes.
who's president of the United States in 1985?
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, the actor? Then who's vice president? Jerry Lewis? I suppose Jane Wyman is a first lady.
Well, wait, Doc.
And Jack Benny is secretary of the Treasury.
Doc, you gotta listen to me.
I got enough practical jokes for one evening. Good night, future boy.
All right, I'm gonna put a pin right there, right quick. This movie, Back to the Future, came out in like 1980 something. Of course, I remember that day. That was one of the movies I really wanted to see, and they really pinpoint on the presidents of the United States being actors. Well, look at it like this: it's another form of contract slavery, and what really people don't understand is that presidents are selected, not elected. The powers that be come together as a Jewish Masonic community and draw a card and say, who do they want to be president? Okay, we're going to select that this person should be president. Okay, so they're going to cast a ballot. Well, it shows that pretty much the electoral votes are what they are to a certain degree. Not unless you are. I'm gonna drop you a hint on a music video I was watching. It was the artist is from G Unit called Young Buck, and he's got what do you call that? He's got a video called Shorty Wanna Ride With Me. Now, if you watch closely, where after he passes through the federal guard or whatever, who happened to be a woman that he knows, there's a woman that he knows or whatever, and he starts breaking down doors, and Tay Williamson, whatever his name is, who's trying to find Young Buck, right? Make a long story short, he started busting through the doors, and one of them happened to be Florida votes. Now, all those votes that were all stacked up in that particular room hasn't even been counted for. So what does that tell you? Not all electoral votes are counted for, not unless you are a specific group of people that supposedly voted and has been counted. Well, could I explain this to you? So-called black people's votes are never counted. I don't care what you say. In order for you to cast a ballot, you have to have nationality. I know this is going to seem like it's far-fetched and far off in corner. Talking about Morris Life, brother, man, yo, you are way off. My vote counted. I voted for Barack Obama. Yeah, well, you can say that all you want, but how can you prove that vote came through? Electoral votes don't mean nothing. They just make up a number, but they choose who they want. Who is they? The Jewish Rockefeller, Rothschild. That's the ones who, and they're the ones who are in charge of all the economic system that's going on in the world. They're the ones who create wars. The war between Iran and Iraq back during the Persian Gulf War, during now Iran and it's so-called Israel, because that's not the original name. Y'all just need to really read between the lines of what's really going on. Because if these entities are so-called bombing each other, it seems like to me it's just being played out like a movie. And it seemed like to me it's happened to be a recording prior to, but that's probably not what's going on. All it is to create an idea of what's going on to get people captured and who's involved, and then it's gonna raise some flags. Somehow we support Israel, we're America, we're this, we're that. Israel does not support America. Israel will never be a republic. Any European nation will never be a republic. It's all a democracy. All a democracy. And I'm going to go there. Okay, let's look at the word, shall we? Democracy. Noun, a system of government by the whole population or all eligible members of a state, typically through elective representatives. Can you see that dirty word? Capitalism and democracy are a synonym in the third world. Similar. A state governed by a democracy, plural democracies, a multiple democracy. Control of organizations or group by the majorities of its members. You're not the member of the democracy. These are the ones who are in the political party. So, what's that telling me? Is that the Democratic Party never looks out for the best interests of the people. They're looking out for the best interests of themselves, and especially on Council on Foreign Relations. That's called a facts what it is. You guys got a phone just like me. Y'all can look stuff up. Y'all can look up all the carnal body passions and desires all you want. Republic. And it says now, a state in which supreme power is held by the people and their elected representative, and which has elected or nominated president rather than a monarch, which a monarch is the democracy. So what side are you on? That's something you got to think about. Majority of the Ku Klux Klan are for the democracy. The so-called white power structures for a democracy. Whether you want to see it or not, whether you want to know it or not, whether you want to feel it or not. How are you going to sit here and try to put someone into office who does not have a nationality, such as Barbara Boxer and all them ones, and all these Maxine Waters who claim to be black? What's her nationality? Jesse Jackson, all them ones are a joke. Just like Elvis, a joke. Just like Prince, a joke. Prince Henry, Prince this and Prince that and Princess, all these ones of the British democracy, blah, 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 are all jokes. You know why? Because they're being funded and they're all in the same group. Whether you are accepted or not, the Republic has nothing to do with the democracy. Now, anybody who thinks otherwise, can do as you will, but man, it goes so far thinking that you are to the, you say the Pledge of Allegiance and say, and to the Republic, which means that a state which supreme power is held by the people. So that means when you say the Pledge of Allegiance, you say when you were the democracy, you're not even holding no allegiance to the Republic. The old Republic, that is. Who represents the Moorish Empire. I can't make it up. I just read y'all the definition. Right here. Well, I'm gonna drop y'all some more jewels. Watch this. Now let's get this party started. The question is Washington, D.C. a state? Here's the answer. Is Washington, D.C. considered a state? No, Washington, D.C. is not a state. It's the District of Columbia, the capital of the United States. The U.S. Constitution established the district of a federal district, not a part of any state and under the jurisdiction of Congress. While it functions as a city and county, is not a state and does not have the same level of autonomy as the 50 states. There it is right there. So how is it the nation capital if it's not a state? Think about it. Seriously. Man. Why do they keep telling you that the Washington, D.C. is the nation's capital when it's not even a state? Is that logical? Is it? It doesn't even have its own national flag. That's what gets me. Well, the United States Constitution does not operate under a capacity to govern the 50 states, as the United States of America as a whole is two separate entities. One is being governed by the other, never the opposite. So the European government has nothing to do with the United States of America Constitution. They may agree to it, but they don't have to abide by it. It's all maritime law. So, I'm about to go over here into the chat. Islam, heaven high to brother, to HIM, all capital letters, capitalizing. Kashmir, heaven high to you, peace of love. So, yeah. It's all about changing your perception and changing the way you think. I don't understand where they're getting this idea from that the United States of America, or should I say the United States, has supreme law over the United States Constitution. It doesn't make any sense. It's not even a state. How could a state that's operating under foreign policy have override the United States of America Constitution? One represents democracy, one represents republic. So you mean to tell me the ones who are the so-called founding fathers or the founding fathers who operate under the Masonic order, who worship Lucifer, right? That they have overpower of the Moorish Republic, right? Well, not unless you were recognized as a Negro, black, or colored, and you forfeited your rights as an American citizen, as far as being Moorish is concerned. I don't think y'all paying attention. I don't think y'all hear me. Because if I was to sit here and say that a nationality is black, then who does that power of authority to recognize someone as Negro, black, and colored? How did that become a nation? And who did that come from? That's the thing y'all need to think about. So how did the people of Africa call themselves black? When again, black is a modern word. 1800s. How is somebody going to be from Europe and call themselves white when the illiteracy level was zero before 1492 in the beginning of the First Crusades? How are they white? Explain that. It doesn't make any sense. See, people fail to do their homework and fail to understand these conditions and these terms, supposedly, allegedly, right? That if you're black, then if someone says that you're not black, then that's discrimination. No, you already discriminated against, already begin with, because you're state property. The state owns you. The 50 states are not being owned by the by Washington, D.C., because Washington, D.C. is not a state. So how is it that Washington, D.C. is not a state, but yet and still it owns the other 50, the states of 50 states per se? Come on, y'all need to. If it doesn't make pocket change, it don't make sense. Y'all need to really start thinking. If every state has a constitution, then how come Washington, D.C. doesn't have a constitution? How come they don't have their own flag if they're their own entity? And how come the flags are being used as and prior to the Second Continental Congress, the United States of America flag is being used with no fringes and tassels and stuff? Explain that. Because that flag is for maritime law, only for business going abroad. Anytime you see a flag that a national flag that has fringes, it means they're operating in business. That means represents authority and jurisdiction. So, since the Missouri Compromise and all this other stuff and all this stuff, blah 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 has already happened already, all of a sudden now people just tend to lose sight of what's real. I guess y'all don't care. But then again, I could never be interested in dialoguing and in conversation with people who don't know what they're talking about. They go by hearsay. That's how you know people are being manipulated and be used for as chattel property. You know, slave chattel property. Chattel slavery is a system where enslaved individuals are treated as personal property or chattels or of their enslaver, and can be bought, sold, and inherited like any other possession. Okay, sports, for instance. Those people are being sold like crazy. Michael Jordan is sold. Every last celebrity is sold to the highest bidder. That's what's truly going on. But you're no different, because they choose wealth and supposedly being wealthy and being rich, but yet and still they're not free. I wish somebody could tell me that the opposite, because if you work a 9 to 5 and you're under a contract which you sign as your fiduciary over, which is your live estate, that means that's the one who's pulling from your fiduciary, your living trust, so that way you can get paid. You're not getting paid through the corporation. That's what they tell you, but they're taking a portion out. What they're going to pay you, and they're going to take the rest out of their for their personal financial gain. Now, that is insanity. So basically, you're the prostitute and the boss and the Rothschild, Rockefeller, 13 family bankers, or your pimps. So you gotta go to them. They're getting paid off of wars and not leaving money for the poor. That's injustice. I'm gonna call it facts what it is. I ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing for y'all. Tell it like it is. But it's about that time. I already went to the chat. This all to the good. Peace and love to you all. I gotta go. I have some obligations to tend to. So y'all take care of yourself. Y'all be at peace. Peace and love. Islam. Take care. I'll talk to y'all on a new day. Islam.